Our next panelist for today is Ms. Namrata Saxena. Ms. Namrata Saxena is an assistant professor at Pillai College of Education and Research, Panvel. She is also the program director for early years and the curriculum head at Mahatma Education Society, Navi Mumbai. A highly motivated and accomplished educationist with 14 plus years of teaching experience in India and abroad. She has proven experience as professor of education at various Bachelor of Education colleges in India, along with teaching experience in K-12 international schools, directing early years at international schools, and she is currently at the helm of growing a successful chain of preschools, the EduKids International at Mahatma Education Society. She is currently pursuing her PhD from Mumbai University. She has written various papers in the field of education, ranging from technology innovations for the 21st century to work engagement in schools to sustainable development of society, etc. She has been conducting various teacher training sessions for school teachers across Mumbai and also has 2 patents to her name. It has truly been an illustrious record and with a broad spectrum of experience from KG to PG. She is truly a passionate educator, researcher, and a preschool expert. She will be speaking to us today on the topic of entrepreneurship. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Achal, Inspector Principal, ma'am, Ms. Rennie. They're all dignitaries, students. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Rennie and PCER Chembur for this opportunity to come and present here in this great deliberation international conference for sustainable practices in higher education. I've been hearing about sustainable practices in higher education last 2 days. And the immediate need to discuss on the sustainable practices in higher education is an example which many of us would know. We have had around a decade back the newspapers flashing up that the engineering students are not employable. Yeah, I don't know if you all have seen this news, but it was in papers. They are not employable. They were good engineers. But then what was this employability? The communication skills, the decision skills, the leadership skills, the personality, all that mattered when they went for jobs. But going for job is one thing. And entrepreneurship is, that's why, close to my heart. Because when I talk about entrepreneurial education, I remember about a very, very impactful experience that I had. So this was, of course, I've heard this myself in a conclave, but this is about IIT Delhi. And the students were attending the conclave for their graduation ceremony. And the then Education Minister, Mr. Manish Sisodia, was addressing them. And you imagine all IITians in the conclave there, waiting to get their degrees. And he asked, how many of you want to take up jobs? What would be the answer? In a class of 100 students, there were 98 students put up their hands. Now, if that is the scene with 98 IITians putting their hands to take up a job, he said just one line. Agar sab job lenge, to dega kaun? If all are going to ask for jobs, who is going to give jobs? Who is going to produce jobs for you? Who is going to drive the economy further? And that is why the essence of education comes, where it becomes sustainable in driving the nation, in developing the nation, in creating entrepreneurs. And that's why that engineering example, if they are not even employable, imagine being entrepreneurial. Where are those skills which education had to bring in the students? So what happens to all these engineers who could not get a job, forget entrepreneurship, forget creating jobs? Isn't it an education gone waste? 12 plus 3 or 4. What happens to all these years of education when you're not able to even take a job? So here is why we talk of sustainable, making education sustainable so that the students that we are creating, the ecosystem, the education ecosystem which is there, how it measures its outcomes. So from the IIT example, what we see, of course, become job creators, of course, become job takers, but aim for becoming job creators. And that is what will drive the economy of the world, will develop the world. I mean, as you know, all nations are in competition right now. And the one key which is considered the most important is knowledge. And knowledge in not in terms of quantifying how many graduates from a nation or how many degrees came in, not in that, but in the quality of education. In the quality of education to impart skills to the students to make them contributing citizens towards the society. So with that background, I start talking about what is entrepreneurship education then, what should be included in the curriculum, and what should be the aim for all colleges of higher education to look for. So allow me to present my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here we are. One second. Huh? Are you able to see it?
Yes, ma'am. We are able to see the screen.
So here this is entrepreneurship education. We have been seeing about its definition since morning. It is not complete without seeing these faces. It is so inspiring. I'd been taking workshops also on entrepreneurship education, and recently, before the pandemic, I was in a college of computer engineers, and not many could identify them. You know, so that itself showed the lack of awareness in the ability of education and the ability of self in creating something for the world to be a better place. So of course, these are the renowned entrepreneurs, and I request all students to go through their biography. It itself is also very inspiring. So simply putting, being enterprising and entrepreneurial involves spotting an unexploited opportunity and making the most of it. Essentially, identifying a gap in the market and filling it. And this involves the awareness. Everything around you, you need to be aware. And education, and that's why the knowledge that you're getting in your classrooms cannot be compartmentalized into subjects, into books only. It has to be life related. It has to be developing your sense of the world around you. And only then will you be able to spot the difference and be able to tap an opportunity for you to get it. Why now? Entrepreneurship is important. What is the economic perspective? Why do we need entrepreneurship education? Why? Majority of new jobs are created by entrepreneurs and small businesses. Small high growth companies account for 70% of economic growth over the last decade. We're not talking of multinational, but even small high growth companies, 70% is what they account to. It drives the economic competitiveness at the local, state, and global levels. Over one third, and this line is important, over one third of difference in national economic growth may be due to difference in the entrepreneurial activity. So if that little bit difference is there, it says it's entrepreneurship. It has a unique position in the new economy It accounts for at least 2/3 of all technological innovations. Personally, why entrepreneurship education? For the personal objective, 7 of 10 high school students want to start their own business. Now, recently, again, before the pandemic, I organized a entrepreneurship workshop for schools, high schools in and around Bombay. So definitely the principals did agree, the workshop did happen. It was an online workshop which we did. But they were all apprehensive that, we don't think students would know. This is too early for them. Parents, of course, parents' views we came to know later, but principals, teachers, they thought it will go flop. Students will not really know much. But trust me, standing in a college of computer engineers versus taking this workshop for school children had a complete different eye-opening experience for me, where students knew each and every entrepreneur, what he was doing, what is his invention, what is his innovation. They were all charged up. Parents were so happy, and they thanked, thank you for this topic, and they started, because we trained them on how do you go for entrepreneurial thinking, the design thinking which is required, the ideation which is required, and there were ideas flowing in, so they were all charged up. But this is where in school, when this spark is not generated, it continues in college. That is what I perhaps thought. So of course in schools we have initiated this, but in higher education we need to continue, and this is why we are here to see how to make it sustainable by including entrepreneurship. So school students, they want to start their own business, more opportunity to exercise creative freedom, higher self-esteem, greater sense of control over your life and future. These are the personal goals, the personal benefits if you start something entrepreneurial activity. Educationally, why do we need to start entrepreneurship education? Now, if you all know, of course, there are student teachers here. This is Bloom's taxonomy. Earlier, if you see, the highest level of thinking was evaluation. It has been revised to creation. If your education is not able to make you to create, what are we really doing there? So creation, to be able to create, learning to know, learning to do is also one of the UNESCO pillars of learning. I think Vidya ma'am had mentioned. So being able to do is the most important goal, the highest level. And it starts from even small. If you can, from your topic, you can create even a puzzle. That is the beginning of creation. And here we are talking of making your studies, making your expertise into creating something. Yeah, so educationally also, that is the goal of education. Globally, many experienced business people, political leaders, economists, educators believe that fostering a robust entrepreneurial culture will maximize individual and collective economic and social success on a local, national, and global scale. The whole narrative of the nation will change if we engage the youth of today in entrepreneurial education. Enterprising, let us make them enterprising. The whole narrative of the nation will change. This is important. I would request you all to read in your mind. So companies need innovators in order to stay relevant. Employers, especially the ones I've spoken to, value entrepreneurship experience over internship experience, because you learn a lot more about business. A lot of internships are unpaid and you do clerical work, where entrepreneurs get their hands in sales, marketing, produce, development, etc. Student entrepreneurs are seen as leaders, innovators, and have a good sense of personal accountability. I'm happy to connect that so many students are here, and I would like to share some examples of my school students long back when I was teaching in school. You know how their goals were. They said that by the age of 22, I need to have traveled at least 12 countries. I need to have been doing this. I need to be owing this. These were the goals of teenagers. This was abroad, of course, but they were so clear. And today, when I see they post on Facebook, these are the countries I've traveled, these are the jobs I've taken. You know, and this is where we see how we even sold lemonade during our summertime. They do all kind of, even if you see the biography of most entrepreneurs, they have come up learning from odd jobs, and there is no shyness in that. There is nothing less in doing that. So are we engaging ourselves in entrepreneurial activities apart from education? Of course, we will be talking how education can help you, but apart from education, personally, even holding a lemonade stall, that experience is also valuable. And here is the example. We are saying we are looking for more entrepreneurial, hands-on job, more than internships, which are mostly clerical. So then what? What is entrepreneurship education? We have seen immense need of it. What is entrepreneurship education then? The objective is to become entrepreneurial minded with the potential to act on this by discovering or creating business opportunities. So being enterprising, discovering, creating business opportunities, being able to give jobs is only when you create. When you create, when you are able to click between what you are learning to the need of the society, you stand there to fill that gap. What is there, what needs to be there, how you can do it, that is what the objective is. Lifelong learning process from elementary to adult. That is why I said it's a continuum. It is not that suddenly in higher education we need to teach them. Even if you hold a small exhibition in primary, ask them to make some jewelry and put up an exhibition for parents, sell it at 5 rupees. That is also an experience, and it starts right from elementary to adult. So that is what is entrepreneurship education aiming at. And this says that they are not born. They become through the experiences of their life. So ऐसा नहीं है कि मेरे blood में नहीं है, मेरा genes में नहीं है. No, there can be training for that. That you can bring up that mindset, and that is by education. Entrepreneurs have a great diversity of personal characteristics. The common one being willing to take a risk in return for a profit. Risk taking, the biggest characteristic of an entrepreneur. Risk taking starts from being open-minded, being analytical thinker, critical thinker. You can train your mind, growth mindset, what they say. You can train yourself in that. Anyone can be an entrepreneur at any time of one's life. You have seen stories of ladies in their old age, even the Little Puppet story you would all know. And at such an old age, they start with business. So there is no age for becoming an entrepreneur. It is not learned by reading textbook and then taking a test that you are one. It is not a bookish knowledge. It is a doable knowledge. Entrepreneurship education activities are a real life vehicle for developing your academic skills. They are found in every occupation and career. These education opportunities are important at all levels of education. So how do we do it? We bring it to our curriculum. We develop content for developing future entrepreneurs. By having the context for building and applying the academic skills, develop the context. Don't give theories, don't give academics in a lacuna, but connect it to real life. Let them apply. So develop the context for building and applying those academic skills. Develop the content for making them entrepreneurs. Career opportunities for students. There should be a lot of awareness of that. That is how they develop a vision of the different careers and different areas where they can put their skills into. Economic development should be the focus for communities, states, and our nation when we are designing the curriculum. So we need a framework for many levels of curriculum development. Lead to develop knowledge and skills for entrepreneurial activities. both knowledge and skills. Core academic skill ka application we need. We need the context and the subject both. Not just the subject, but the context. Where can you apply this knowledge? Both are needed when we are planning to develop the entrepreneurship curriculum. How you can develop extensive literature review, that is needed. Focus group of entrepreneurs, call them, ask them what do you want in this education, how we can bring up the education to create entrepreneurs. Have an advisory council of the entrepreneurs. Get the input from those concerned in entrepreneurship education. So have a focus and you are there. Talking of what to include, these are the skills what they found out, and effective communication, positive attitude, teamwork are ranked as the very important skills moving ahead. These are the main skills, and then the kind of education that is happening in the higher education classrooms is what we need to reflect at. Is it the teacher on the stage, the sage on the stage? Is it the lecture method which is going on? Are we allowing students to communicate, to have teamwork? If not, then we are not sustainable. These are the skills to look at to evaluate if our educational practices are sustainable. 3 skills we can include are entrepreneurial process skills and traits, readiness skills, and business functions. So what is the entrepreneurial process that we need to teach the students about? Of course, there are many cycles which take you through. The design thinking cycle, what we say, where you start from ideating and then trying. So here, if you look at some process, we can look at discovery, what all can be possible. Concept development, then create a plan, create your idea, resource, test your plan, is it feasible, actualize, do the business, harvest it and keep growing. What next can you do in your business? So it starts from idea creation. Yeah, so there are many cycles, but basic cycle is create an idea, think of what possibilities you can do, test it, run it, and grow. So this process should be embedded in the cycle when you're doing entrepreneurship education. Some traits are also essential: leadership, personal assessment, personal management. All these skills are very important when you are trying to become having an entrepreneurial performance from students. So train them on this. Let them have activities where they're able to show their leadership skills, where they're able to personally assess what kind of a person they are, what kind of attitudes they carry, and then they can work on it. Personal management, all these are also very important. Then your education is sustainable. Readiness skills, especially for entrepreneurship. Now you will see that many engineers do engineering, then they do MBA. Any field, they study their field, then they do MBA. Why this compartmentalization? Why cannot be this included as a holistic education, wherein they need to know about business foundations, what are the different business activities. They need to know communication, interpersonal skills, staff management, personal management, talking to hierarchy, proposing a business, digital skills, the most important. Digital marketing is what you're talking about also. So basic computer sileke from Internet of Things. Economics, very important. International concepts, the market, profit, loss, all that. Financial literacy, managing your own finance starts from there. Professional development, all these are readiness skills, and then your students will be job creators. Yeah. These are very important business functions which we need to include. Whether even if you are studying botany in your 3rd year, you need to know what is financial management, human resource management, information management, marketing management, operation, risk, strategic management. These are a part of readiness skills when you're trying to make students as entrepreneur job creators for the future. These are the students that I was talking about, and this is how your classrooms need to look like. We need case studies, we need cooperative learning, we need student autonomy to be utilized, we need leadership, we need communication, confidence, risk-taking, influencing, constructing. Give them case studies. Let them research, let them take students, let them use the skills of 21st century and come up and look at the confidence now they have in presenting the problem. This is what is the requirement for education to, to create job creators. And I've left them all with a challenge. I'm sure this summer they all want to put up some stalls, at least if not big things, but the vision is shared, right? So that is how in education we need to bring in the entrepreneurial mindset among students. If not a lemonade stall, that's the simplest what I'm talking. Connect, develop projects, and here is what we can do. Set up a business on the side of your degree to make some extra money. That's irrelevant of what you're studying. Set up a new student society, particularly if it is around entrepreneurship. Have a student society in your college around entrepreneurship. Develop a social enterprise. A college can develop or you can develop, which are organizations that use business methods for social or environmental benefits. Run that. Give that exposure to the students. And you are having them with that kind of a mindset. I recently visited a college where botany students had put up mushroom culture, so they were growing mushrooms in the college. They were making money out of it. So they had to put up a society and the mushroom culture. I could see it was a huge, it was not a small experiment kind of a thing, a huge setup the college had given them, and they were running. All students were involved in growing that business of so academic plus entrepreneurship. This is what is then sustainable, when you are able to contribute to the economy also of the country. So all in all, what we need is developing commercial awareness, creative and innovative thinking, innovation, problem solving, analytical skills, adaptability and flexibility is very important, influencing skills, negotiation, persuasiveness, selling skills, leadership, leadership drive, and being result oriented. Last but not the least, resilience in the face of obstacles. So if we have combined all this, we definitely have enterprising minds budding in our classrooms, and we are able to have more people raising hands to say, I want to be a job creator, not a job taker. So on this note, I end my presentation, and I hope we are able to develop this kind of a robust entrepreneurial ecosystem in our classrooms of higher education. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for that insightful presentation. Our final panelist for today is Dr.